Okay, so let's go into everything we've talked about so far, as well as using materials. So I want to create a layer non-destructively to paint this a green color. So I'm going to come up here to my fill layer. Now that my fill layer is here, I'm going to choose what I want, which will be my dynamic range. I'm going to choose green, and I'm going to choose an off green. I want this to be pretty rough. I don't need height. And at the moment, I'm going to want a little bit of metallic in there. Okay. So this is going to work for me. So what I'm going to do here is call this grenade base. And then I'm going to add a black mask. Now that I have a black mask, I'm only going to select the grenade base. Okay. So now that I have this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my selector. I'm going to choose fill. And now I'm going to paint this on. So now my base is done. I can edit the color. I have done a non-destructive workflow. And now I can move on to see what I want to do. So next, what I want to do is I want to make this color metal. So what I could do is create another fill layer and make it metal and choose, but instead I'm going to go see what this shelf has to offer. So I'm going to go down, scroll here under shelf, find materials, and see what we have to offer. So I'm going to want this to be scratched up and grungy. So I'm going to choose, you can even type in metal if you want. And these are all classified as metal in the search, or you can make your own. But we have steel rough here, and if you hover, it'll give you a display. We have steel rust and wear. I kind of like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, and I'm going to drag it up into my layers. So now this has applied a blanket to everything. And I don't want it blanketed to everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. I can right click on this. I can add a black mask. After choosing a black mask here, I can come back over here to my Polygon Fill. Same thing, I have my Polygon Fill. I can use my 2D, 3D viewer and decide like I want this to be. So I can choose UV chunk or I can choose mesh fill. So I'm going to choose my mesh fill. Okay, and I see that it accidentally picked this up because it travels through objects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to black and I'm just going to click this and it's going to undo that fill. So now that we have this nice metal, we have our green here. What I'm going to do is I want to apply this green to this handle, but I want to be able to edit them separately. So what I will do is I'll go to my grenade base. I will hit Control D or right click and you can hit duplicate layer. And we get it again. And I'm going to rename this to handle. I'm going to right click my mask. I'm going to hit black mask so it gets rid of the edit. And then I can come back here again. And I can basically choose, if I go to white, down here, make sure you're in white because you're editing in a black mask. Click here. And now that's good. Wonderful. So now the handle is good. Now I want to change the color of these. I want them to be steel. So I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to choose steel rough, drag it up. I'm going to rename this to steel pull pin. Now that it's implemented on everything else, because it's at the bottom, if I were to put it at the top of the layer, it would cover everything. At the bottom of the layer, it's underneath these masks. So I'm going to do the same thing, add a black mask. I am now in my polygon select. And now I'm going to choose these different objects. So I'm going to hit these. I'm going to choose this. And we should be good. Okay, wonderful. So now I'm going to come back up here on one of my 3D only. Now we have our steel pull, our grenade, and this was our grenade head, is what we'll call it. Okay, now that we have everything labeled and everything looking good,